Well, yeah, HR TAC is a new governmental entity. It's a regional government that had to be set up from scratch. There was a lot of work already done locally, but it's been a real challenge setting up a new government here in Hampton Roads, and also moving forward, as you'll hear in this show today, very quickly with some ambitious approaches as to how we're going to solve the problems we've been talking about for the last 30 years.
Okay, I was going to say, I came into the area back in 1980. The tolls were still on the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. There were no tolls on the other tunnels, and there was talk of adding a new bridge tunnel. There's 1980 to 2016, still talk about it. Tolls are going all over the place, and that's my opening question to you, Senator. You take a lot of conversation, and you put a dollar sign on it, which I forgot how many zeros, but a lot.
Right.
And a lot more zeros than I can afford, even one paycheck at a time or one toll at a time.
Right.
So, how do you make it all work?
Well, what it takes is money.
Okay.
And,
yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
It took a number of years, but finally the General Assembly, and I worked very hard. I was part of the Third Crossing Commission, created the Third Crossing Commission when the House in the 1990s. So I've been at this for a while, but we were able to finally push across what was known as House Bill 2313. It was the omnibus funding transportation bill. In that, it raised $1 billion of new money, in addition to what already is being raised statewide. But it also created the HR TAC, the Hampton Roads Transportation Accountability Commission, which raises local money to be used on only congestion relieving tunnel, bridge, and roads projects. And really, those are only the projects that are passed or agreed to by the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization, which is the mayors and chairs of the counties and cities in our region. Those projects, once approved, it becomes up to us and Shep and Kevin to figure out how we're going to get from what's approved into a logical order that keeps everybody happy. And we really have some very, very good news, I believe. A lot of things that we've talked about for a long time are really happening and going to happen in a relatively short order.
Okay, let me back up, though, because you hit it on the head. It's all about money.
Right.
So when we talk about new money, old money, transferred, where does the money begin?
Well, obviously, the money begins in the taxpayer's pocket,
right.
But we have raised regionally here, I believe last count, over $410 million in the bank today.
Wow.
To get started on these projects. Because of the money raised and the money that we can project raising into the future, we've been able to authorize and sign up for the expansion of 64 on the peninsula. The construction's already underway.
Thank you.
On phase what we call 1, 2, and 3, which will take you from Jefferson Avenue basically to 199. The outlet malls or Pierce's Barbecue, no free advertising. And
now you got my attention.
But now you know how far. The 264 interchange and the high-rise bridge. And obviously the question then becomes, okay, but you didn't talk about the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, and why is that?
That's right.
And that we have funded. The Corps of Engineers has required us to do another environmental impact statement to determine that route that's the most feasible. We have funded that. That's underway. Kevin can give you the details on it, but we're about 18 months away from submitting to the Corps. The Corps will take a period of time to evaluate and say, this is what you can do, and then we can start to get our hands around that price tag.
So the options that the Corps is looking at are?
Well, there are actually about 11 segments of independent operational utilities, which means they're designing this program to do an analysis. They had to go all the way back to the original around 2000-ish studies, that process moving forward. We had waited so long as a region to do any construction on the project. It's very similar to a building permit on a house. It had expired, so we had to go back and update that document based on current conditions and also current laws that are in place today. So it's a little premature for us to determine yet and say which of the crossings we're going to do at the Harvard Crossing first, but we are amassing funds, as Senator Wagner mentioned. We're amassing funds in our 2022 plan that was just passed. It came out of the Funding Strategies Committee to fund the first phase. Put money down to start amassing the first phase of that project to be constructed, built, and in service by 2028.
That's 2028. 28.
That's correct.
So there are people out there with shovels that would like to start today. I mean, is that kind of the pressure that you're feeling?
Well, I felt the pressure a long time.
I was going to say.
Until I sold the shipyard last June, I lived in Virginia Beach and commuted to Newport News every day. So,
right.
So this was a real experience to me, and and watch the traffic get worse and worse to back up. I mean, it's an everyday event from Norfolk back to the peninsula in the afternoon. 4 or 5 mile backup is the standard. Wait till summertime and it gets even worse. But so clearly it had to be addressed. It's an economic chokehold. The Fleet Forces Command, a 4-star admiral, said, "I can't recommend any more military establishments here until the transportation problem is resolved." I mean, this is a major impediment to any type of economic growth in our area. We recognize that. We've got to clear that choke point, and we're moving as rapidly as we can to do that. Once the SEIS is in, the funding stream is there, then the questions then become, as we start to negotiate this, will it have to be told or will it not have to be told? And there's another discussion.
Shep, you laugh at that one. What's the discussion going to be?
Discussion first will be, as Frank said, which option do we pursue? I won't get to make that choice. Others will make that choice, but I'll certainly lean in. And then it's how do you pay for it? When we came out originally.
I'm glad you guys were asking the tough questions instead of me. How do you pay for it?
Well, there's lots of different ways to pay for it, but we can pay go for a long time. We can raise more revenue either through some tolling or through some other tax increases. And I'm not a toll fan. I'm not a toll fan because I don't think I know it's not efficient way to pay for transportation. So we don't know exactly what the cost is yet, and we don't know exactly what the crossing would be yet. I'm a fan of a new crossing because I think it helps us in many, many ways, as opposed to just making the old crossing bigger.
Right.
Anything happens then, you still got a problem at the
And I'll just mention Willoughby. That's all I'll say.
That's right. That's right. So, I'm a fan of a new crossing. I think it makes all sorts of sense, but I don't get to make that decision, and we'll make it in due time. But it's all come down to money.
Well, you've kind of teased me. I'm going to ask the senator this one because you're going to run into this in Richmond. Who should pay? What residents should pay for it? Is it a statewide issue or is it a regional issue?
Clearly, I think you need to understand is the original projects I said 64. We're already on queue to get 150 million statewide money added to the pot, which helps to reduce that. We feel very positive we're going to see another $200 million on the high-rise bridge of statewide money coming because that meets the new HB2 requirements to do that. I'm quite certain that when we come to and get a final decision from the Corps of this is what you will build, that clearly if there's a congestion relieving project in the Commonwealth of Virginia, short of maybe a couple in Northern Virginia, this has got to be the next on the priority. So it's going to qualify for a significant amount. As all of us start to crunch those numbers, then we'll be able to figure out how much statewide money to throw into the pot. What's the cost of this project? What do we generate locally? And then how do we make up the difference if there's a difference to be made? And there will be on this project.
Because if we look bigger than just transportation cars on a highway,
right?
When we start talking about the 22nd century,
sure,
which the city of Norfolk is with Vision 2100,
right?
I mean, that's a major part of our economic development pattern, too, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I mean, we're at the level we're at right now. We have the military installations we have right now. We have the tourists that we have right now. We know we've got to elevate the level of economy in Hampton Roads, and we know our transportation system's choking us. I mean, clearly, if there's a single priority that you say, what's the most that we can do from government to help economic development in our region, there's one thing, and it's transportation. And quite frankly, it's these crossings. They're the choke points, and they're the areas that we've got to address. We've got to address it as rapidly as possible, and it's got to be the focus of the priority of spending both regionally and at the state level. And I think a lot of people have that message, and as long as I'm in office, I'll continue to carry the banner.
I think I heard Shep say something about tolls.
Yeah. and let me say one other thing, Bob. It's not just economic development. It's not just the military. It's not just quality of life. It's also a safety factor,
right?
Safety issue. When I was on the Commonwealth Transportation Board, I think we figured out it was 2.5 days from the word go to evacuate the area if we had to do that.
And it's a sunny day.
2.5 days.
Yeah, right.
I mean, 24 hours a day, all day long, to get people out of here. And it's, as Frank said, it's the choke point. So we're going to have to figure that out.
And let me just say this, Bob. We had a long discussion this session, and we'll have another one next session, and as long as I'm up there about it. I despise tolls, and I despise it for this reason. The care and feeding of the tolls takes money out of the taxpayer's market, builds nothing, okay? The fact that you have a toll meant that you're borrowing money Okay, so now you're paying 2 for 1 for the cost of a project. Okay, I'm of the school that says if we're taking $1 out of the taxpayer's pocket, let's put $1 to road construction. Let's not take $2 out of the taxpayer's pocket for $1 worth of road construction. What that means regionally is I had a sliding scale tax. We have a percentage tax on fuel right now. Well, we didn't put a floor on it for the region. So what's happened is this collapse in fuel prices. We've seen a corresponding collapse in revenues collected. And then if gases get even more expensive than they were before, actually the taxpayers are paying more money with very expensive gas than they would be without that. And so what my bill did was revert back to a per gallon tax, which raises a lot of money while these gas prices are so cheap. But if it gets back up to where it was before, they'll actually pay less money, tax money, than they would. When they least can afford to do it, I want to be taking less out of the taxpayer's pocket, and actually less than what we have on the books right now, which is what the bill would have done. What that would have meant is we would amass a lot more money up front to pay for this third crossing, Hampton Roads, whatever the Corps says, and the likelihood of tolls diminishes significantly to the point where we may have to end up borrowing money, but we wouldn't have to have tolls related to it to borrow. Now, that discounts the Patriots crossing, or the portion from the naval base to the Craney Island. That portion, because of the agreement with Elizabeth River Crossings, would have to be tolled, and everybody understands. So I don't want to mislead folks into thinking that that won't be tolled, but there's a high likelihood that what we do on the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel would not have to be tolled.
Because you've said something sitting in SOFA that is the third rail for most politicians, and that's that three-letter word.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
showed
Well, I mean,
a lot of courage.
I
don't even want to say that word.
No, the 20 a tax. I mean, I'll say it. The 2313 bill was a tax increase. Okay, make no doubt about it. But it was a tax increase for infrastructure. Period. Put a lot of people to work. It was, and we're seeing the results. You're seeing the results all over Hampton Roads today. And I think that's what taxpayers want to see. They want to see results, and they're seeing it. The repaving of 64-264, that was an abomination.
Again, thank you.
That was statewide money that was applied here. In my district, the Lesnar Bridge replacement on the Lynn Haven River is going on. There's projects all over the region outside of what we just talked about going on because of that bill. And taxpayers say, well, if we see that, now what I want taxpayers to understand is if we're going to do, and we're going to do, well, make no doubt about it, we're going to do the third crossing slant, but whatever it is, we're going to do it. The question is, do you want to pay 2 for 1? Do you want to pay the tolls, or do you want to do, our parents, thank God that our parents had the vision under Eisenhower to say, you know what, we need an interstate highway system. And we're not going to toll it. You know, we're going to build an interstate highway system. We're going to put a federal fuels tax. And here we are today. We are the beneficiaries, and our grandchildren, our children, our grandchildren will all be the beneficiaries of the decision our parents made back in the 1950s. Well, I think it's time that this generation steps forward, makes that decision, at least for our region, and says, you know what, we're going to put this infrastructure into place. We're not going to pay tolls. We're not going to take 2 for 1 out of our pockets, out of our children's pockets, and out of our grandchildren's pockets, which is what happens when you borrow a 30-year bond. And you know, it's a little amount now with huge dividends on the backside.
And you need to remember too, Bob, that there's a cost of doing nothing.
Exactly.
You know, Frank showed a lot of courage, to your point, and others, and he had others that helped him to go up there and get the money that we needed. But there is a huge cost, a bigger cost, in my view, of doing nothing if we hadn't done that.
Well, I think the main thing to do now, and I'm getting the
yeah, I'm seeing it back there too.
But I think it's important for our viewer to really try to make sense of it. And I want to thank you for coming out, really to kind of putting 50 years into about 15 minutes of a very complicated. Because if I want to put a patio in my backyard, I bring a shovel out, I buy some dirt, and I do it. But it's a much more complicated world, and I want to challenge our viewers to take an interest, get informed, get engaged, and know what it takes to build a highway. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
Bob.
for joining us.